Okay, well, I think I will kick us off here because I want to make sure that we have enough time to hear from all of our incredible panelists. For those of you who haven't attended one of these before, my name is Zoe Taylor. I am the current chair of the Women in Industry Committee. And today I am joined by my co-chair, Kaylee Corby. So we are both going to do our best to facilitate the conversation today and introduce some of these incredible women in sales so that they can share their experiences and their advice for others who are considering getting into a role in sales. So, we wouldn't be here today without the incredible sponsorship of Cogeco. So thank you so much to Cogeco for sponsoring this series. We really, really appreciate it. And I am now going to pass it off to Kaylee to introduce our first two panelists. Take it away, Kaylee.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Zoe. Intuition Realty is an innovative real estate brokerage that specializes in the marketing, merchandising, and selling of new home communities and condominiums. The company was founded on a need and selling of new home communities and condominiums. The company was founded on a need in new home industry for a cutting-edge, savvy player by Debbie Kozik, in 2008. Debbie Kozik is the founder and CEO of Intuition Realty. Debbie commenced her real estate career in the 1980s after graduating from the University of Toronto. Founding her own real estate brokerage, she has become a self-made businesswoman in a highly competitive industry. Since Intuition's inception, Debbie and her team have overseen the sales and marketing of over $20 billion of real estate. Debbie has been recognized not only as an astute professional, but also a fearless innovator in the industry. She currently serves on Build's board of directors. Today, Intuition provides a dynamic, unique, turnkey formula for positioning and selling new developments from land assembly to market research to strategy planning and execution. Complemented by their design, leasing, and property management division, Intuition has been able to focus on opportunity while creating industry trends with award-winning and profitable results for their clients. Please all welcome Debbie. Angela Sangarkis is the RBC Regional Sales Manager for Southwestern Ontario, responsible for builder development. Angela builds builder relationships through close collaboration with the RBC Mortgage Specialist sales force and its sales leader. She has 20 years experience in the financial industry. She started her career working as a financial advisor and quickly moved to roles such as commercial banking and management. In addition, Angela worked for CMHC in a business development capacity where she acquired in-depth knowledge relating to business development and market dynamics. Please all welcome Angela as well.
Awesome. And now our third panelist for today is going to be Sonia Caltagrone. So she is with Caliber Communications. She's an award-winning sales professional with over 13 years experience who is currently leading a team of representatives in the security technology industry. Sonia possesses proven leadership abilities with a focus on driving team-based and individual sales results in direct alignment with corporate objectives and targets. Her in-depth knowledge of proven sales techniques to develop and achieve ambitious targets and her passion about the creation, development, and maintenance of relationship has led to yearly growth in client acquisition and retention. And then without further ado, our final panelist speaker is going to be Mary Ann Demirci with CIBC. So Mary Ann is a trusted mortgage advisor with a demonstrated history of working in the financial and real estate industry. Mary Ann prides herself in providing her clients with expert mortgage advice with affordable and convenient solutions. The key is to provide each and every client with one-on-one advice that accommodates their unique schedules. Whether you are thinking of buying a home, purchasing an investment property, refinancing, or switching your mortgage, she provides her clients with expert advice that answers their unique borrowing needs. So from here, we are going to jump into some of the questions that we've laid out today. Without further ado, the first question that I want to ask the group is, how did you get into your role in sales? And what would you say is your favorite part about being in sales? I think we'll start off with Debbie.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. For me, getting into sales was actually not a planned strategy. I graduated from university in one of those years where you couldn't find a job. So I decided to get my real estate license. So purely for self-interest, never imagining that how much I would love the field and that I would have this opportunity to enter the pre-construction industry, which I started off as a sales agent working for a developer. And I realized I was very quick to realize opportunities. I saw that there was an opportunity for a project marketing firm that would be unique, a little bit different from what was being offered at that point in time. I progressed in my career to work for a developer in-house and to run their sales and marketing department. So I had the opportunity to see the flip side of the coin. And again, even more so, I was, I felt that there really was a need in the industry for something that was very specialized and different, an alternative to what was being offered. So we jumped into that wholeheartedly, created a very small agency that, fortunately for us, has morphed to be the second largest one in the nation. And we have a sales force of about 150 people. We're representing 30 builders across mostly Ontario now, but we've gone as far west as the prairies and down into the States and various marketplaces. But so for me, it was a fluke, right place, right time, grab an opportunity, jump into it and kind of roll with it. What I love about it and why I would highly recommend it for many, I just want to dispel the notion of real estate that we're, like used car salesman or something like that. For years, my parents were embarrassed to tell people I was a real estate agent. They used to say, oh, she's a real estate broker, but she's going to get a job in her real field, what she graduated in, that typical European mentality. But they've overcome that over the years, and they're, quite proud of, I guess, our achievements now. But I would really encourage the younger generation, because project marketing and real estate sales in general has so many wonderful facets. Flexibility, you can juggle a family, you can juggle a career, you can, you're the author of your own destiny. The sky's the limit for your earnings. You can earn as little as you want or as much as you want, depending on the effort that you want to put into that year. Again, one of the, to me, one of the greatest things is the flexibility of schedule, the fact that you can tailor make your own day-to-day, how you're going to function and how you're going to intertwine your family life. So it really gives you the ability to balance a family life with a stellar career. I mean, we're surrounded by superstar agents and the majority of them are actually female. So it's wonderful to be able to see that, because I know that that's such a tussle in everybody's life, having a family and having a career. Just stop me when I go, Zoe, because I have a tendency to talk a lot.
So it's just, you're so passionate, but you're presenting some really awesome concepts. I think we've seen throughout this pandemic how much people want more flexibility and are really focusing on what matters most. And sales can provide you that opportunity to balance out your life. So that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Angela, what about yourself? How did you get into sales and what is your favorite part about it?
So I started with just being interested, of course, in the financial industry, and I started within a branch, and it was great. It is great. You learn a lot, you establish a lot of relationships. It's a little more structured. I did various roles from branch manager to commercial banking, so I was exposed to many different avenues of the business. And really, it was then an opportunity presented itself. It was almost luck, where there was a pilot that was being conducted, because at that time, not to age myself, but mobile banking wasn't really a big thing. So there was an opportunity to go out and do some mobile banking, and I joined that team as a pilot. And that was like it for me. It was amazing. You're out there in the world. It was sales oriented. You were able to meet new people outside of your set, community really that you were before. It is still structured being in sales. So I don't want to say there's not structure, but I'm going to allude back to the fact that the flexibility and just being really able to show your own leadership skills within a sales role outside of a certain more confined environment was really appealing to me. And the fact that in a way you are your own boss, you can absolutely do your own scheduling. You can do the work. If you're a night person, a lot of the times you do working at night. If you prefer early in the morning, I really did adapt well to that sales environment. And I would say I'm just echoing the same thing that Debbie said as well too. To balance your work lifestyle, whether you have a family or whether you have other hobbies, other interests. It was really, really appealing to me, and something that just suit my characteristic and my personality.
That's awesome. And what about yourself, Sonia? You're in a sales leadership role now, but I have to assume you started in sales to get to the sales leadership role. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, you did. I did. So I actually started in retail sales, and the idea was to use that to pay for my schooling to become a behavioral analyst. So nothing to do with sales, completely different. But I fell in love with the role with people, like just talking to people and helping people and having fun with my team. And just, it's something that I'd never experienced before. I was actually a very shy person. So being in front of crowds and talking to people was very new to me. But I along the way, I met some people who mentored me and helped me, reach my full potential and bring out things in me that I never even knew I had, like public speaking. It's just not for me. And then I had so much fun with it, and I just loved it. And then going to university to become a criminologist was just out of the picture. I just couldn't see myself doing that anymore. It was just, this is where I needed to be. And it was just weird. It was like everything happens for a reason, and I ended up here, and I love it. So yeah. And what I would say is the best part of it is that you're dealing with people every day. You're helping people solve their problems, or, you know what I mean? You get to listen to people and empathize with them and come up with solutions and help them. And I love that. So that's what I totally enjoy about it. Yeah.
That is so cool to hear kind of where you started being. Everyone started from such different areas and has different reasons that they love it, but they're all so similar, which is pretty cool. And what about yourself, Marianne? How did you come into this career, and what is probably one of your favorite reasons for staying in it and loving sales?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was super adamant on being a lawyer. I started watching Suits, and I'm like, that's it. I'm going to be an inspector. I'm going to write my LSAT. I'm going to article. Yeah, that did not happen. I wrote my LSAT, shadowed a bunch of lawyers. I didn't like it at all. I found out I was a little bit too emotional for it. And so anyways, midway through university, I kind of switched, trajectory, and actually got a job at TD. So I was just a teller there. And, I really liked the finance sector, and I've always liked real estate. So I said, how do I amalgamate the two? So I moved on to a mortgage underwriting role at a brokerage in Burlington, and I did that for a while. Again, it's different when you're working under somebody, right? And I quickly learned that you can't fully enjoy a prosciutto sandwich in 15 minutes that's allocated for your lunch break. So I said, you know what, I'm going to be self-employed. I'm going to be my own boss. So that's when I started my mobile specialist role with the bank, and essentially running my own little business within the bank, which is awesome. And, I have a lot of autonomy, and I love it. I think my favorite part about the role is definitely the client relationship role. As you can tell, I love talking. So love building relationships and rapport with clients. Love the face-to-face interaction. So this COVID pandemic is killing me, but fingers crossed, things go back to normal soon, and I can go out there and conquer the world again.
I hope it's just on the horizon. I mean, every time I see somebody else sharing that they get vaccinated, I think I'm more excited for them to get vaccinated than I will be for myself. But yeah, hopefully we're just around the corner and we can get back to face-to-face. So this might actually lead a little bit into our next question for the panelists, which is all around, like, what's the biggest challenge, whether it was pre-COVID or related to COVID, that you faced in your sales role to date, and how did you learn from it? And what did you kind of change moving forward in what you did in your sales role so that you never came across that issue again? Sorry, Debbie, we're going to start with you.
Perfect. Maybe I'll touch on the pandemic. I mean, for us, sales is, we're project marketers and a sales company. So we sell hundreds of units on weekends. We used to organize very large events to the public, to co-op brokers. So everything facilitated around these big group buzz and a lot of excitement and hype that we would create to be able to sell the volume that we needed to sell, especially in the condo industry, where, as we all know, we have to have a certain amount of volume to start construction. And suddenly that shut down like a light with the pandemic. And, we had to very quickly pivot and reinvent ourselves. we were already selling online because we were we did interprovincial and international sales, but we really had to up that game and be prepared to fully expedite hundreds of units weekly on a online basis. So we very quickly pivoted and overcame that and came up with a strategy to deal with sales during COVID. And I'm very proud to say that we did have our best year in the history of our company last year, volume wise, because we felt that what really happened is builders weren't launching in the beginning of the year during COVID. They were waiting. And then when they started to launch, it was as the floodgates opened. And we realized, with this perfect storm of low interest rates and people wanting to potentially, change their residence for something a little bit larger or to invest in real estate due to the pandemic. We sort of rode that wave, and for us, it ended up being, an amazing year. One of the things that was very challenging was maintaining our work culture. So we pride ourselves on that. It's something that we believe has built the success of our company, and we like to, work hard, play hard. But for us, culture was like everything. Every Monday, our company is mainly female, like 98% female. So every Monday we meet as a group, and we have our management strategy sort of think tank meeting where we go through all of our developments over lunch, and it's usually a 4 or 5 hour meeting. And it's, we celebrate birthdays, we celebrate milestones, we complain, we bitch to each other, we support each other, we cry on each other's shoulders when, somebody, God forbid, passes away or something horrible happens in their family. So we really are a very close, tight-knit family. So how do you keep that culture on a TV screen? Or a computer screen. It's very challenging. So that's where we had to reinvent ourselves even more so and come up with little things that would kind of reconnect us, delivering food to each other, celebrating birthdays online, bringing children online, showing us what's happening in your family. Somebody's had a baby, let's talk about it online. Like that for us was one of the biggest challenges, because we really desperately didn't want to lose that. Because for us, work is very important. Obviously, we all need to earn money. We want to be successful. But if you can't enjoy it and you can't love the people you work with, what's the use of doing it every day, honestly? Like, I never want to work to be a drudgery. So for us, it was very important. And we spent a lot of time on that. Like last night, we had our awards ceremony. It was supposed to be in 1 hour, and ended up being almost 3 hours. But it was a ton of fun. And we sent food to the people at home and a bottle of wine, and tried to do whatever we could to try to keep that connection, strong during COVID. So those were our biggest challenges, I think.
That's a tricky one. I'm constantly looking up ideas and concepts, because I don't think anybody's mastered that to this point. It's just not the same as in person, right? Angela, what's the biggest challenge that you've faced in a sales role or your current sales role, and what did you learn from it going forward?
So it is a bit twofold. Certainly COVID is one of the biggest challenges, and I too will touch upon that. But in general, for challenges, I think they are constant, and so there is always something to overcome, whether it's adapting to a new marketplace environment or any other intel that comes in that kind of interrupts your day. So there's always a challenge, and I think that the main thing to understand is to overcome it is your willingness to adapt, to be resilient to that particular challenge, looking things at a different lens, seeing what's working and what isn't. So that's something that, I try to keep it in mind all the time when I'm presented with a challenge, and, what can I do to overcome this, or reaching out to best practices with other colleagues. Being very collaborative is always something that, I try to be anytime there's any sort of challenges, facing my way. And have you overcome this or so forth? Just getting an idea, sense that way. But honestly, again, COVID has been the biggest challenge up to this point within my career. And within the last year, it is very challenging to do your networking virtually, to do sales virtually. How do you go and touch and feel? And we're all visual people, and we all read body language too. So it's always been, to me, an asset to go out and have that, face-to-face interaction with clients, with employees, with colleagues. You just get a better sense of the business, really. And for me, that's how I always like to work. I never really enjoyed working remotely. I'd like the balance of both, and I always love to be on the road more, right? Just seeing and living it. So adapting, though, like I said, to a virtual world has been difficult, but I think if you are willing to just educate yourself, practice, right? How many Zoom calls, do we have to do to get it right? And we're still doing them, and we're still sometimes not getting it right? But I think if you're willing to put yourself out there and just keep going, that's, you practice managing it, that you will be successful, right? And just having those touch points, again, that be touched upon with employees and doing the little extra things does go a long way for your mental health as well too, right? Because you do need to enjoy your work too. So I wholeheartedly echo that as well too. So, but it's been a good year. Yeah, overall, it's still been a good year, right? If you have a will, there's a way. So.
I think it turned out a lot better than everyone expected at first. That's the most recent conversations I've been having. Well, if you had asked me March 2020, I did not think we'd be here today. So to Debbie's point, record years, a perfect storm. So it was just an interesting year, but not without its challenges, it really sounds like.
Right.
So Sonia, I'd be really interested to hear from your perspective, since you are leading a sales team as well. What is one of the biggest challenges pre or post COVID that you've faced, and what have you learned from it moving forward?
Well, so January 2020, just before COVID, is when I was promoted to sales manager here at Caliber. 3 months into it, COVID hits and panic, and everyone's like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? People are gonna have to work from home, and we're not used to doing the Zoom calls. And so my biggest challenge was trying to stay positive, keep everybody, on the up and up, and it's okay, everything's gonna be fine. We're essential service. We can't break down right now. Like, let's just keep going, right? So it was just getting out there, doing our presentations, again, virtually. That was the biggest challenge, because in your face person, I like the interaction with people, as does my sales team, but that's what we're used to. We're used to going out to construction sites and just walking in and saying, where's the site super, how you doing? I just want to talk to you. You know what I mean? We can't do that during COVID. You can't walk onto any site during COVID. We also, it was, I guess the motivation and keeping everybody pumped and positive but we got through it. I mean, we're a year later, and we had a great year last year, and we're just keep doing what you're doing. Can't let anything bring you down, right?
Absolutely. So it really sounds like motivation and mental health at the end of the day, and missing that in-person interaction. Marianne, I have a feeling you're thinking the same thing, given that you love to interact with people, but what would you consider one of your biggest challenges in your role, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with all of the ladies. I can attest to all of it. I think personally, my biggest, hurdle was this whole work-life balance, right? So I went from, more like all the other ladies, being out there, communicating, making those connections, to then being stuck at home. And then being stuck at home means, when is shut off time? So I have my office set up at home, and, I'm cooking dinner, and then I see an email pop in, and a text and a call. And it's like, when do I shut it off? So I said, you know what, I'm at home, might as well, just power through. And so I did that for, I would say, the better half of the pandemic up until recently. And then it really started getting to me mentally, right? Because I started kind of losing touch with myself in a way, right? I've started forgetting all the things that I like to do, like going for walks, playing soccer, hanging out with friends. And it just became work. And eventually that's going to catch up, and it's going to drain you, right? So now I'm trying very hard to implement gym time and social time, and, go for a walk and allocate, breaks throughout the day. And that's okay. There's no reason to feel guilty about it. And I think prior to me coming to this realization was that, well, no, I mean, why do you have to do that? Might as well just sit at your desk and power through. Or, I'm notorious for sitting at my desk and eating lunch and working at the same time. But, training myself to get up from the, my chair and my desk, walk away, go have lunch somewhere else, or, but yeah, I mean, teaching yourself all these little things, just so you can maintain that balance until we can really get back out there. And then you'll have a, more of a distinct separation between, your home life and your work life.
Yeah, that's a really awesome point that I can attest to as well. I'm a big fan of putting in the calendar when you go for a walk in the middle of the day, because to Angela's point, or even Sonia's example, going in being in a sales role, going out to these sites, that ate up a good amount of time, but it also allowed you that gap in your day to get out, meet people. It was a little bit more rewarding. We need to be doing that now, just in a different way, right? So Kaylee, I'll pass it off to you for the next couple set of questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Zoe. I'm really excited about this question, actually. So if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be? And we're going to start with Debbie.
Yeah, I really think that I would have concentrated on the culture and, building that from within the company much earlier. I think I spent the first 5 years, or myself and our team, of course, spent the first 5 years, hardcore, nose pressed to the wall, building the business. And when we really started to kind of loosen up a little bit and introduce the cultural aspect of it, and the things that were very important to us, the social work, the charities, etc. I felt that in itself took the company to another level. I think it took people's mentality to another level, that they were, so invested in the company and invested in, the growth and the vision, etc. So by kind of giving back internally, we got back so much. Plus, we got the benefit of creating this, what I think is a wonderful workspace that people really love coming to. And that's very evident by the length of time. Real estate is a very fast turnover industry. People move around a lot, kind of the same faces, just in different places. But, as a company owner, that's obviously something that you don't want. You want retention. That's very important. And you want to build your team, and you spend years training somebody and then they leave. So the fact that we have this enormous retention, like we had our, as I said, awards last night, and we had a whole bunch of 10 and 15 year tenure awards that we gave out, which again in real estate is actually like being somewhere else for 20 years, right? It's a really big deal. So that building that culture has had so many benefits, from, as I said, helping to grow the company, to just, the happiness of people that are there, and their willingness to want to stay with you for a long time, and to build this as part of their lives. And by culture, I mean everything from the events we host to the charities that we're involved in, to including their families in events. We have a children's event every year. We invite their spouses to a lot of things that we host. A little bit hard, obviously, because of COVID now, but we're sure we're going to return to that soon. So anybody that's going into their own business or setting up shop as an independent contractor, spend a lot of time, or some time at least if you can, on building that culture from within. It's very, very important. It'll give back to you. Whatever you put into it, it'll give back to you 1,000-fold over.
I love that you just pretty much, you and your team are just one big family, it seems like. And I love that workplace mentality. I think, how could an employee not be happy in that environment, right?
Thank
So
you.
Angela, what kind of is your perspective of what piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
Well, I have a very big list, but I'll keep it to a couple. So one thing I would definitely tell myself is not to, limit yourself. And, when you're younger and, maybe you're successfully starting your career already, and you're comfortable in a certain position, you feel like this is a great opportunity, and maybe this is the best it's going to be. Well, I mean, I can tell you that, it can get better, and you may be super happy at what you're doing, but there's always a next level, to always push yourself outside of that comfort zone, that you are absolutely capable of doing more. And I remember once transitioning from one job to another, and I thought, oh, what did I do? I shouldn't have done this. And I really kind of moaned and groaned about it for way too long. But then having turned it around and using it as an experience, then to move on to another role, really, ended up being much better than what I was doing before. So I think if you give yourself, that confidence that you are, more capable than what you are currently doing, and that's even if you're quite successful at what you're doing currently, you absolutely can do more. You can take that extra step, and you can push yourself more. So I would tell myself not to be too comfortable in one position, that this is going great, but still keep your eye on a moving target and keep progressing forward. So that's one of the main things I would tell myself. And the other is to put yourself, out there too and get involved. And, I don't want to repeat everything, but I think I started maybe doing that in the later part of my career and, being more involved within the community, within committees. It really does help your business, but it also gives you that, purposeful feeling as well too, that makes you feel good. And in return also makes you do better at your own career as well too. So.
Somebody who hates change, I love the message, the embrace change, because that's definitely an important message to get out for sure. So Sonia, kind of what's something that you wish you knew when you were younger, I guess?
So challenges. You're going to challenges along the way. So think of each challenge as an opportunity to better yourself or to learn is what I would tell myself and my younger self. Not a challenge, it's an opportunity to learn and do better. And I live by that now, and it's been very helpful. But back when I was younger, every challenge was like devastating, and so got through it. But
yeah, I can relate to that too. Marianne, what's your perspective?
So I've always had a bold personality ever since I was little. I was that kid notorious for getting notes in my agenda. Mr. DeMarchi, tell your daughter to stop talking in class. She's too social. She's too friendly. We'll let her go. We'll give her a bathroom pass and, I'll catch her talking to the principal or whatever. Right. So I was always taught from a young age, conform, don't be bold, don't, not that I'm eccentric, but I would say I'm pretty animated and personable. And I was always told not to be that way. So my advice to myself would be, don't change who you are just based on kind of what the norms of society are or what people think that you should be or shouldn't be. I would say that, those traits I've carried on into adulthood and have made me and shaped me into the successful salesperson I've been. And it's tough, right? When you're a certain way and somebody's breaking you down and telling you not to be that person. But, just kind of tunnel vision in that sense, right? Sticking true and being true to who you are. And that would be my piece of advice for sure.
Yeah, well, you're an amazing woman, so never let anybody dull your shine, okay?
I appreciate that.
So the next question is, what is something you are most proud of that happened in your career within the last year? So again, we'll start with Debbie.
Okay. So I think at the beginning of COVID in March, when everything really shut down, I think we had our last event March 11th, and the following week the world shut down. So those first 6 weeks, 1 month, we were sort of, everybody's in we were in a panic. We were buzzing around trying to figure out how to restructure our company, how to restructure the industry, how to create all these just to keep everybody employed and keep going. And so one of the things that we realized that we had more downtime than we were normally used to. A lot of our builders had fully shut down. They were on skeleton staff. So we were just kind of treading water, having meetings, waiting to see what would happen, Zoom meetings. We decided to take that energy and direct it towards some charitable endeavors that we've always been connected to a lot of charities in our company, but we really, I think in the end of March, April, and May last year, really focused on our local food bank. So we were involved in a charity that we, I think we served around 10,000 meals to people that were shut in and couldn't leave their homes due to the pandemic. We had always been involved with the food bank, but always in a different manner, that we were raising funds, etc. But here, we asked our team to go out and help deliver the food, put on a mask, put on gloves, and hit the pavement. There are many, many elderly that couldn't leave. There are people that were mentally challenged, or people that had suffered from all kinds of illnesses that just couldn't leave their homes to go pick up food. So we had some great weekends and days working on that and really pulled our team back together. And then from that, we progressed to the Peel Children's Aid. So we had a fundraiser for them at Christmas time this year. So that was the third event. Where we raised about $40,000 for Peel Children's Aid. It was a drive-through Santa Claus event. So every year we have a whole bunch of family events for the kids and spouses. Couldn't do anything indoors. We decided we were going to have a drive-through Santa event. Set up Santa, the reindeers, the elves, everything outside, the hot chocolate, and just have people drive through with their cars, drop off a donation, take a picture, get out, take a picture with Santa, and keep moving. It was hugely successful. So we're planning on having this again next year. And the third thing we did was we rolled out a partnership with the Pinball Clemens Foundation, where we've raised funds to donate a 3-year scholarship to somebody or an individual. It happened to be a young lady this year who comes from a financially challenged background, and she's also Black. So it was an initiative with the Black Lives Matter initiative, and it was very well received within our company. We're very multicultural and racially diverse, and we really were sort of, stunned at what was happening, particularly in the States, and wanted to, step up and help. So we found that these various endeavors were really helped pull our company together and really gave us a driving force for those first couple of months before the industry went crazy again. And we're very proud of that. And something that we're going to continue to layer on over the years, and hopefully be able to do more of that work in our community.
So important to be like supporting each other right now during this pandemic. And it sounds like you've really gone above and beyond. So that's really awesome. Honestly, can't even say how impressed I am with all the contributions you've made. Angela, what's your perspective?
Well, I just want to shout out that, echo what you just said. That is, a lot to be proud of, Debbie, and you and your organization. Thank you. That's amazing. That's amazing to hear. So I'm glad to hear that. And we do take the same approach with the organization that I work for as well too. But, really for this last year, what I'm proud of is that I had the opportunity to be a part of just reacting to this change and the measures that my organization put in place, to help clients, temporary credit measures, assistance virtually as well too. We kind of prepared for it, right up front, having seen it on the horizon. So we were able to implement and execute, many enhancements that really aided, our clients and also our, builders and other realtors and just in general, the financial industry community, right? They were hit hard at first, not knowing what to do and how to go about doing the business. And we turned it around, adapted, and at the end, it worked out successfully overall. For now, right, knock on wood, it was a great year. But I'm really proud that although I can't take credit for being the person behind the scenes to, execute and establish, I did get the opportunity to be one of the frontline salespeople and leaders that were able to utilize those measures and put them out there.
Thank you so much, Angela, for all your support. Sonia, what's your perspective on what's something you're most proud of in the last year?
I'm actually most proud of the entire Caliber team. Like, the pandemic was, not gonna lie to you, the first week we were lost. Like, what do we do? How do we handle this? We deal with criminals all the time. We deal with bad guys and stuff, but this is something you can't see. How do you fix this? How do you, we always want to fix something here. The owners of the company, they got together, they made sure that everybody felt safe, and everybody, if you could work from home, you work from home, you do what you got to do. We all came together as a team. Everybody had each other's back, and we had a great year. And it just felt good that I'm somewhere where we're making a difference and we're all working together. So that's what I'm very proud of.
It's so nice that even though during this obviously very hard time during a pandemic, that everybody's really coming together and working together and still achieving their goals. Like, I think that's amazing, honestly. Marianne, what's your kind of perspective on the most proud you are, or something that's happened in the last year?
I would say, Kaylee, when COVID first hit, my first thought was, how am I going to use these hands to explain what I need to say? But essentially, what I'm most proud of is kind of adapting as a self-employed individual in this virtual world. I'll be honest, I was worried for my business, and I've self-driven income, so it's very much so what I put out is what I kind of get in return. So I would say I'm most proud of surpassing the expectations I had put into place for myself when the pandemic first hit. And I think at this point, this only encourages me to further, up the ante and continue to hustle and grind along. And like I said, kind of going back to my initial point, I'm hoping we can get back out there, and hopefully that'll that'll just make things even better.
Yeah, I love that go-getter personality of yours over there. Zoe, I think I'm going to be passing it back to you now.
So we have a little bit of time left over here. Does anyone have any questions for this panel of women in sales that they would like to ask? I have one more question, but I want to leave the floor open. If somebody has a question, you can either type it in the chat or come off mute. I'll give you a moment.
I think we did all the talking.
I think so. I was going to ask if you think that there is room for, there's still room for improvement in terms of how you are perceived in your role. So sometimes a woman being in sales in a sometimes male-dominated industry, it can be a bit of a challenge. Or to Debbie's point, her group is made up, would you say 98% women, just something absolutely amazing. But you're entering these spaces where you're having conversations. Do you think that there's still room for improvement? And if so, where would that be? Or what would you want people to know or start to become more aware of?
Sorry, did you want me to start or somebody else?
Debbie, you can start, yeah, if you have something. I didn't want to put the spotlight on you if you didn't
No,
have
not
something.
anybody else. Like I said, I have a tendency to talk a lot, so I don't want to monopolize
You're good,
things.
Debbie, don't worry.
Because I think there's always room for improvement. You always have to feel that, you know, you're not the, I just think if you feel that you can't improve yourself, that, you know, you won't grow, you won't, you know, move forward. But I'm not sure if the question was, is there room for improvement in our industry or within ourselves? Within our industry.
Within the industry, like, are there still misconceptions or stigmas that we're working towards changing, whether it's the way that you're treated, or have you not come across that and you found that there has been a lot of change in the last 5 years since we started to bring highlight to these issues so that there is more equality across the board?
I definitely think that there's room for more women in our industry. And I know, like in sales, you know, for us, it's a female dominated field, but there's so many other wonderful aspects of our industry, construction, you know, there's a million different facets of the construction industry, and there just are not enough females. Like, nothing makes me happier than we do site walks after we complete our projects. And, you know, we'll be the developer or representative will take us through, and I'll see a woman in a hard hat, or I see a woman construction super. Like, you know, you go, girl. Those are well-paid, great jobs. There's no reason that women can't have them. Well, why are, you know, why is this solely dominated by men, almost exclusively? I'm only seeing this in the last few years. I think that there's definitely room for that, and that should be encouraged within our industry. I mean, I think being they consider that a trade, I guess, there's nothing wrong with that. I think we've come full circle now that, you know, for years our parents pushed us, everybody needs to be highly educated. You should be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or whatever. Now I think that there's a different level of respect for this. A trained professional as a trade or a construction manager or a super or something like supervisor on site or a project manager is a very lucrative, desirable job, and there's no reason women shouldn't be in it. I would love to see our industries, HBA and OHBA and Build, et cetera, push more females into that industry through maybe training or scholarships. There we go, scholarships. We've given ourselves another idea, right? Like that's what I would like to see. Like in the sales end, we're very respected. You know, we made a big mark in our industry. Even though most of our clients are male, we feel that we get a lot of respect because of the knowledge and what the expertise we bring. But what about the other aspects of the industry?
Yeah, being well represented in every field, not just in sales roles. It's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, and I can add that definitely more support. I mean, yes, in sales too. I believe the numbers for the sales force is 55% female at RBC. So there's not necessarily an issue at all. We're very supportive here, you know, for equality purposes and so forth. But going just in the industry overall, I think it does go back to not even necessarily, you know, any other company not wanting to, you know, participate in the hiring of more females. It's just that female knowing that she has an opportunity to excel at certain position, whether it is a trade or something similar to that role in the industry, and getting that support behind them would be essential. There's definitely a need for improvement at that. And often it does come just from people's bias, not just thinking, oh, that's not a role for that person, not really meaning bad intentions, but it is, because it's a bias that a lot of us do have to overcome.
Yeah, and it goes back to Debbie's point about an idea around scholarships. It's starting really young, right? That's where it's like the root cause is coming from. So the pandemic forced us to come up with a few different sales tactics and initiatives to maintain and continue to grow our businesses. Is there a specific idea or a different tactic that you implemented in the past year that you're going to keep doing moving forward? Like, are there some Zoom meetings you're going to keep instead of in person? Or what have you noticed? Sonia, you're nodding. Have you had some experiences where you changed what you did this year and you're not going back to the old way?
Well, pre-pandemic, we were limited to whatever was within 3-hour drive, right? So you would contact clients that were within 3 hours, so you can go there for the day, do your presentation, come back, do your job. Well, with the Zoom, I can reach out to Montreal and have 3 presentations in one day and not leave my office, which is fantastic. So we're able to talk to more people. Although we do prefer the in-person, it's a little more personable, but you're still your reach is a lot bigger now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Marianne, have you done something different this year that you're going to keep doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw this meme and it's so funny. This could have been an email, or this should have been an email. This virtual world has made us, I feel, a lot more efficient, right? So before, I remember going and meeting, oh, I need to talk to you. I need to meet you in person. Okay, no problem. So I'll meet them and it'll be, something, could have been an email, could have been a phone call. So the efficiency is just like awesome. So I think I'm going to definitely lean more towards that. Of course, still love the in-person aspect of my job, but the efficiency just saves you so much time, right? Similar to what Sonia's saying.
You know what, I love the fact that, and I agree with both ladies, that we'd like to keep as an element of the Zoom world alive, simply for a lot of reasons that they both touched on. But one of the things that I think Marianne mentioned earlier, scheduling walks in your schedule. Like, I'm notorious for putting that into my calendar. 1 hour, 3 times a week, I go for a walk and I plug it in and I take a call during that walk. So I just don't put on my video. I excuse myself. I'm going to huff and puff a little bit. But I have to do that. Otherwise, I just won't accomplish it. So to be able to have that flexibility is just incredible, that and that you don't have to spend the time, as Sonia said, traveling. Like, that's so huge for us. I mean, we would be able to accomplish maybe 2 or 3 meetings a day if we're lucky. Now we're doing 7 back to back if we have to, literally. But again, you can choose to have 7 or have 3 or 4 and have some extra time to prepare, to go do your yoga class, to take your child to school. I mean, these are all things that we encourage in our company. We just have so many times we're limited by time and what, we're forced to do or have to do to complete our day, our busy days. So, I mean, that gives us the flexibility of another, incorporating another element of that culture and well-being in our industry, and trying to keep that as much as possible.
Yeah, I like that. Focusing, hey, we've made mental health a priority because we had to, because things were so rough and, such a challenge, but let's keep making it a priority because we're more efficient when we do that, right?
And
what
I
about
agree
yourself?
I absolutely just agree with everybody and just echo, just having more choices is always good for the client and for yourself. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm going to open the floor. Are there any more questions from the group to this awesome panel? And I'll leave it there. Any questions?
There is a comment though about who is Shelley Valet Ewing. We're trying to encourage young women to join the trades and specifically the HVAC industry. Women in HVAC. Way to be, Shelley. I'm going to look that up. I assume Shelley works for an
Thank you,
HVAC
Debbie.
company.
No, I don't actually. I work for a finance company that supports independent contractors, but we have a whole group of women that have come together to try to support women entering the trade. So it's a fledgling organization. We're in the not so fun process of getting our infrastructure in place, but the whole premise is to encourage young women to join the trade. So when this world opens up again, we're looking to become ambassadors in schools and speakers in different opportunities, different settings to try to get women to look at the trades. As you pointed out, it's great money, it's great exercise, it's a great career, and we want to see more women doing it.
Oh, that's super cool. We'd love to be involved with you. Somebody will reach out.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I see somebody made a comment about patience, and you're bang on with that too. Sometimes it takes more than a couple of tries, and we're still going. So patience has definitely been in use a lot this previous year, this last year.
Yeah, and I love how Carolyn's talking about patience with other people, because especially when we've gone through these various phases of lockdowns, how many people had children at home?
Oh,
And
yes.
then those of us who don't have children at home, well, I have nothing but time, because what else am I going to do? I'm locked in. So such a contrast, and recognizing that contrast. So when you're trying to touch base with someone, they might be working half the hours that you are. They might be working less than half the hours that you are. And it's not by choice. So having that patience, and I think that empathy at the end of the day.
I think that's why women are so successful in the fields that they, choose to be in, because they have those qualities. We named our company Intuition because it was a female company in the beginning. And when an advertising agency, recommended the name, and we thought, bingo, because that's that sixth sense that we really believe women have. And that's why that you can layer, be it patience or empathy or, kindness, ability to multitask, to be the mother, the wife, the sister, the boss, like everything, right? I beg to differ that a lot of men can't multitask to the degree that women can. And I think that that's why we hire so many of them and make them part of our team, because they do it so effortlessly. It's amazing, so women empowerment, yay.
I did see a stat to back up what you're saying, Debbie, because I saw it on LinkedIn this week, where a market research company conducted a study and found that women in sales positions listen 18% more than men. And that extra 18% on average is typically what can lead to stronger relationships in like long-term partnerships. So to your point, the listening, the empathy, and the patience can be a real asset in a position of sales.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, a big premise of the sales is obviously the relationship, and I forget which of the ladies talked about that, but, people will often give you business because they like you as an individual. They respect what you stand for. They respect your knowledge, et cetera, et cetera. And there may be other people that are just as knowledgeable, but they like your personality, or they like the way, you treat your people, or et cetera, or your team. And so again, a layering of maybe being just kinder and gentler. And I think women are great at that.
Awesome. So we're wrapping up on time here. We have gone through all of our questions, and I don't see any more questions in the chat. So I want to thank, again, Cogeco, our sponsor, and thank all of the incredible panelists. You ladies are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone stay tuned. We will be hosting more Coffee for the Win series, but we are all good for today.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much, guys.
Please.
Care.